Tonight, the focus is on Westport, and Westport offers so much. And Father Mac Gréil's 21 recommendations on the back of hundreds of questionnaires about the quality of the town as a visitor destination gives readers, locals, businesses and elected officials valuable tools in how to plan for the future. As Minister for Tourism, Culture, Arts, Gaeltacht, Sport and Media, I can attest to how planning is so important for sectors under my remit. And this is especially true for tourism, which has been completely devastated in towns like Westport. And I am working and planning to ensure that our towns and villages not only survive, but are well placed for the recovery and to once again thrive. Indeed, it is interesting to note the window wherein Father Mac Gréil's work and questionnaires were completed for his latest survey in 2019, after a recession and just prior to the pandemic, at a time when our towns were getting back on their feet and where there was space for innovation and hope. And I promise you, we will get there again. Father Mac Gréil's recommendations reflect the high level of satisfaction expressed by visitors, but also their ongoing needs and wants in a changing world where the tourist experience in front of our own eyes, even in the last few years, has shifted. I want to go through some of those recommendations, reflect on them, but also give an insight into what the government is doing, which may help address some needs. One key finding, which I believe is integral in any tourist destination, is contact and interaction with local people. Often holidays aren't necessarily remembered for the place, but for the people. And that is so much the case for destinations like Westport. Father Mac Gréil makes the point that both visitors and service providers stress that the friendliness of people is a major attractive feature of holidaying in Westport, and we should not take this for granted. In some parts of the country, that Céad Míle Fáilte has been lacking in more recent years, where destinations have become too commercial and less sustainable. But it is that charm that puts Ireland's destinations head and shoulders above other places in the world. So let us not forget that. Indeed, the title of the book, Westport, Where Visitors Feel at Home, the author makes the key point that favourable contact or interaction be facilitated for tourists in cafes, pubs, at concerts, plays, on tours and at religious services. As Minister for Tourism and Arts, I am also trying to facilitate such interaction, such connections. In February, I announced €5 million for local authorities to open up, equip, or create outdoor public spaces for the arts and festivities. These could be used for performances, exhibitions, recitals, and gatherings. We want these new public spaces to be equipped for year-round use to help support the nighttime economy, and each local authority can apply for up to $250,000. Father Mac Gréil also notes in his survey that some 9 in 10 local providers rank protection of the environment highly. And it is encouraging to hear that the erosion of Croagh Patrick is being corrected. As a Green Party minister, I am especially conscious of the environment. And one of the key actions I will be undertaking as we start to see the beginning of the end, hopefully, of this pandemic, is to develop a new national tourism policy. This will be socially and economically sustainable and will ensure that sustainability is at the heart of the recovery in tourism. Sustainable and green tourism has seen huge rewards in other countries such as Denmark and New Zealand, and Ireland can and should be ambitious in leading the way on sustainable tourism. One connected area I want to see progressed is the desire for longer stays and breaks in and around Ireland. This is more sustainable with less carbon emissions and also would see more take-up locally in food, sport, culture and attractions, while reaping rewards for the visitor who would indeed feel at home after a longer, more sustainable stay. And again, Westport ticks the box in so many ways for a longer stay destination. With Fáilte Ireland in April, I also launched a €19 million fund to help develop state-of-the-art facilities for outdoor water-based activities. The significant increase in people enjoying outdoor water-based activities such as kayaking, surfing, paddleboarding, and open water swimming is expected to continue to grow year on year, and not just during the summer months. This means all-weather changing facilities, secure storage and bathrooms at beaches and inland water spots will be in huge demand. Father Mac Gréil also makes the case to connect up communities along Clew Bay. Again, this is about sustainable tourism, ensuring local communities are embedded into tourist plans. And I know my Cabinet colleague and Green Party leader, Minister for Transport Eamon Ryan, is passionate about extending greenways and cycling and walking routes, as am I, around the country. Indeed, there are plans in place now to extend the Greenway further onto Achill Island, while there is also strong local support for the proposed extension of the Great Western Greenway to Louisburg, Roona and Clare Island. I also understand that Fáilte Ireland's development plan for the Clew Bay area will be launched after the summer and, crucially, tying in with some of Father Mac Gréil's recommendations. The vision of the group behind the plan is to extend the season, increase overnight visits and visitor spend, and attract visitors to engage with the true essence of the story of Clew Bay, while serving to promote, sustain, and enhance the natural and cultural heritage of this region. Father Mac Gréil, though, also touches on worrying financial issues for the region, recommending VAT changes for services and social tourism grants. Whilst I cannot comment on what financial measures government may or may not look into for the October budget, I'd like to reassure you that Coalition will not leave the tourism sector on a cliff edge, and that Taoiseach has also made this personal commitment, as have I. In the recent National Recovery Plan, I succeeded in ensuring that the special tourism 9% VAT rate that I secured in last year's budget will be extended onto next year. Furthermore, the Coalition has extended supports such as the COVID Restriction Support Scheme, 2/3 of whose recipients are in tourism or hospitality. This week's announcement about a delay in reopening indoor dining and bars is a further blow for the sector at a key point in the season. But I am determined to find a workable solution for indoor hospitality that is fair, equitable, and inclusive for businesses, staff, and customers alike. And we are committed to maintaining supports such as EWIS, PUP, and the Recovery Plan commits to assessing if more needs to be done. Of course, though, it has been a very difficult period for businesses, both here in Westport and further afield. Father Mac Gréil even makes the observation before the pandemic about the change in demographic and socio-economic situations in the villages and townlands of the west of Ireland, and the author reflects on the desire to stop the decline in rural Ireland. Hopefully, the strong advanced booking numbers for the season overall that I'm hearing about up here, the resilience in the sector, and the popular spread of attractions from Mulranny to Ballycroy, the National Park to Achill, the Great Western Greenway, the Louisburg, Crowpatrick, Clare Island, Inishturk. My lord, the list is endless really in this region, isn't it? No wonder I'm coming back. It will benefit communities as we also ease restrictions further. It would be remiss of me also not to mention the fantastic news for this area that I had the pleasure to announce for Westport House only earlier this month. As part of a total €73 million for 4-star attractions in Ireland, Westport House and Gardens received funding of €20.2 million from Fáilte Ireland under the Platforms for Growth scheme. This provides for the development of the Grace O'Malley Visitor Centre, as well as the restoration of Westport House and the development of the new gardens around the estate. Over the first 5 years of operation, this project will generate €33 million in direct tourism expenditure, supporting 1,000 jobs in the area, and 66 new jobs will be created there. Support for Westport House is, of course, one of Father Mac Gréil's key recommendations. And, of course, the architecture of buildings and the rich heritage of Westport adds to its attraction. The Georgian character of Westport, combined with the beautiful grounds of Westport House and the stunning scenery around Westport Quay, attracts thousands of visitors, domestic and international, to the town every year. The people of Westport are immensely proud of their town, and rightly so, and their care for it has seen them awarded the Tidy Town's Best Large Town Award an amazing 11 times, and they have been overall winners of the prize 3 times. It is really no wonder that Westport was named the best place to live in Ireland in 2012. Thank you so much, Míle buíochas, for inviting me to launch this book, Westport, where visitors feel at home. And can I once again congratulate Father Mac Gréil and Westport Tourism Organisation for its publication. I want to see every town and village help our tourists. Like Mark Twain said, explore, dream, and discover, as Westport traditionally has done for generations. I believe these report findings could serve many towns and villages across Ireland and would encourage other communities to take note. Tá míid tar éis dúchláin agus crochan olmhór a tharú sa tír seo, agus ag obair le chéile, ag pleanáil, agus leis na taciachtaí atá leagatha amach agam, agus tuileach taciachta fiú, déanamh míid a rí sé, galam é sin. Gur míle maith agah.
Now, before I forget, I would like to thank Father Maloney for the contribution he made, and of course, Sue O'Toole over here from the leader, who gave us a fantastic grant as well. Thank you very much for that. Without your help, it would be impossible to do. And I'll now hand you over to the great man himself, Father Micheál Mac Gréil. Okay.
My problem is corns. Somebody said to me today, "Is this your swan song?" Well, I said there have been so many swan songs of late that I need a swan pool. A chorlig ara is a cordia. Gawan buíochas mór leis an ara Catriona ní Mhártín, a sucht tuaras gála a heola agus a cuarta I héan agus a clán, I féin agus a clán ar chahar na mart. Áit an aríon cuartóirí sa maia. Is privilege war doing in agriacht chorasóracht de chahar na mart, Westport Tourism Organisation, a cuairt agus a seola. Tá súla gom gur fiú na hiireachtaí, atá déanta agat agus go mé glas or in galéir. For me personally, the visit of Minister Martin TD and the members of our family to launch this report is a special honour. As alumni of St. Patrick's University College Maynooth, herself and her two brothers, the senator and the psychologist, were students in the college, and in fact these two did their degree under me. So they were very dynamic students. They contributed an awful lot to the life of the college. And it is a source of great rewarding to us as academics and lecturers to see students continue to make contribution to society. Following the welcome and valuable comments and significant references of the Minister to the report and to tourism in general, I would like now to highlight a number of points arising from the 2019 survey, which are covered in great detail in the report just launched. This marks the 5th survey, which I had the pleasure of directing, one in 87, 92, 2001, 2011, and 2019. And ever since the 80s, I have had the privilege of participating in Westport Tourism Organisation, where we on the committee supported and monitored the day-to-day happenings in the tourist service. During my early years on the committee, I was given an insight into a structural feature of Westport by an eminent visitor to the town, the Mayor of Limavady, County Derry, Mr. Ronnie Cartwright. He made the observation that the infrastructure of Westport was conducive to both tourism and industrial and commercial development. The maintenance of this balanced infrastructure is something that private, statutory, and voluntary leaders and organizations have continued to preserve and protect. The net result of this balanced infrastructure means that Westport is a place where you can live a full life and at the same time welcome and greet visitors and tourists. Now I come to the next point, the democratization of tourism, social tourism. Before referring to any specific findings, since this might be a swan song, and recommendations, I would like to suggest that a radical change is needed in the social and personal function of tourism, which has become almost totally commercialized today. In the past, paid holidays were the practice of the rich and the privileged, some to the more exotic locations in the Mediterranean, the Adriatic, and elsewhere. But that is no longer the case. Today, in most developed countries, annual leave has become a human right for workers. This results in a massive expansion in tourism in Ireland and elsewhere. The next stage, and this I emphasize, is the human emancipation, is the extension of annual holidays to all citizens as a human right. Hence, the case for social tourism. We already see the sad effects of the deprivation of an annual holiday on the disadvantaged in urban and rural Ireland, particularly in the urban areas. There is almost a sense of relative deprivation among those who sense the denial of what others see as the legitimately source of enjoyment. This leads to frustration, and frustration seeks expression in aggression. And a lot of the displeasure of the young people from deprived areas is as a result of human deprivation, or of relative deprivation. Included in those who are denied holidays for commercial reasons, I would list the unemployed, the poorly paid, people with disability, and people below the poverty line. In a truly democratic society, social tourism, funded by the state primarily, should be the norm. Such holiday rights should be just part of the normal tourist service. And places like Westport, in my opinion, would welcome to be as part of the regular visitors. The choice of holiday, of course, must remain with the person going on holidays. I trust that you do not consider this suggestion too radical, because it's going to come anyhow. So you're as well to be ready for it. Now I come to, get my pages right. yes, to Westport House and Estate. And I welcome Lady Altamount here with us, and I hope I welcome the Hugheses here as well. Since 1960, Westport House and Estate has been a most important feature in the growth of tourism and in the service of visitors to our community. Our debt to the Brown family for the success of, if I may quote a phrase, the tourist project, is very, very great. Recently, the Hughes family of Westport have taken over the house and estate and are continuing to make it available for the enjoyment of tourists and local visitors. Give them a clap too. The 2019 survey confirms that the providers welcome the new owners and support their very important service to Westport, as did the Brown family in their time. But it's very important that it continues as an integral part of the overall Westport community tourist project. Now I come to a very, very important issue, not only in Westport, but throughout the country. One of the welcome results of the 2011 survey, which highlighted the need for suitable, supervised, creative recreation for children and toddlers, was the response of my own nephew, Micheál, and his wife. They're here in front, and his wife Natalie. They set up the Wild West in response to the need, and has shown by the ongoing outgoing numbers among the visitors and the local families that this establishment was very timely. I am happy to say that the good work in this is being continued by the new owners, Tish and Tom Gill. And as the minister was talking about helping people who have suffered because of it's groups like this, they had to close their doors, and they're ready to serve a great need. In the course of research for the 2019 survey, another area of need was highlighted: the indoor recreational needs of young teenagers. On reflection, it became clear that this is a real challenge for the recreational rights of this very dynamic and important age group, which is being inadequately provided for in Westport and elsewhere. Again, the need is both for local youth and for visitor youth. The need is particularly serious in the non-sport area. I feel that the absence of proper recreational services for this age group is contributing to some of the juvenile delinquency in our society. We are to blame. Friendly people and beautiful place. The top 3 most attractive features of Westport in the findings of previous surveys and in the current one were friendly people, physical environment, and the beauty of the town. I highlight these findings to alert those who have an influence on the development of Westport in the future and at present to gauge all plans in the context of ensuring highest standards of environmental and architectural protection and favourable informal occasions for people to contact in pubs, cafes, recreational events are maintained. The awful tragedy of the destruction of Croagh Patrick is one of the great shames in our society. But thank God, as you pointed out, it's been remedied. And thanks, he's not here, Micheál Rigg, for his generous support to the committee. It's just terrible. And we had it up in three reports. That a sacred, one of the most beautiful mountains in the world could be damaged. The level of friendliness is also a credit to the frontline staff in the various services. The retail, the pubs, the hotels, the catering, the religious service, the Gardaí, the medical service, and occasional meetings and events. It would be fitting that frontline staff should be assisted in gaining local topographical knowledge of Westport and the surrounding area. Come now to a new thing, is indoor and outdoor activities. It is clear to us all and confirmed in the findings that there has been a substantial growth in what could be called active holidaying over the past 3 decades in Westport. This has occurred at the outdoor and the indoor levels. Westport has successfully responded to this change, and much credit is due to the Westport Tourism Organisation for their work on cycling and walking routes and their support for greenways. The Westport to Achill Greenway has won national recognition. The indoor activities level, there also has been notable developments. The Westport Leisure Centre, the cinema, Hawley Hoban brought it back. The Wild West, the facilities in hotels are very good. The town hall behind me, the pubs, cafes and the taverns. Westport House has offered both outdoor and indoor activities. The great advantage of these activities also that they provide favourable occasions for visitors and locals to mix and converse. And it gives the locals, of course, a great chance to get a bit of recreation too. Now I come to a very thorny issue in my catalogue, Clew Bay and the Quay. As stated in the report of 2011 and the surveys of 2019, one of Westport's greatest assets is least developed. I repeat that. Our greatest asset is least developed. And that came to me from a senior member of Fáilte Ireland a number of years ago. That is Clew Bay and the Quay. Rossmoney Sailing Centre, King's Cruises of the Bay, Tom King and his family, and the deep sea fishing charters are the main notable services operating south of Clew Bay. Recent developments at the point make signs of greater things to come. There is a strong support for the development of Clew Bay, and I'm glad the Minister brought that point up. But the hope for a marina exists for many years. The channel hasn't been dredged for years in a tidal harbour to allow yachts and tenders from pleasure cruisers who could anchor out in the Schleier to come into the quay. You have this wild Atlantic way. Why haven't we a wild Atlantic wave where you could go from port to port around the whole island? Wouldn't that be wonderful experience and would attract many people? The development of Clew Bay, as the Minister has agreed, should involve all communities on its shore: Achill, Coran, Mulranny, Newport, Kilmena, Westport, Morrisk, and Louisburg, and the two major islands, Clare and Turk. The report focuses too on the need to strengthen the sand dune at Bertrand Strand. I think that's very serious. If that sand dune breaks, you'll flood the quay. You'll flood Caraholly. So I think the emergency action, and I spent a time myself in Belgium and the Netherlands, and they were able to control the sea there very well, and we should draw on their support. Now my conclusion, you'll be happy to see. In concluding my selective contribution to the launch of this report, I once again express my thanks to Minister Catter. You should know the Martin family. They're just like us. That's the biggest tribute I made. And her husband here, the TD, Francis Duffy, also from Carrickmacross. And a welcome to Senator Ronan Mullen from Ballinasloe. And we're all a gang. And we work together to get her to come. You see, you know how the politics work. She didn't need much pushing, I can tell you.
Didn't need much work, Father.
No. She loves Matt Malloy's. And you know, when she was in Maynooth, she composed and sang the song contest and won it. So she's a great, talented person. Every report is based on fieldwork and secondary analysis. It's the work of a wide number of people, including those who filled in the questionnaires and the staff who assisted me. The help of Castlebar GMIT was invaluable. That is a tremendous asset in Mayo for jobs like what we have done. And I thank Dr. Mark Garvin and Owen Murphy for their support. But most of all, I thank my research assistant, Megan Burke-May, for her generosity and competent assistance, which was first class. I also thank Aidan Clark, and Simon Wall, and John Bradley for their excellent essays on architecture, on the history, architecture, and economy of Westport. But I have to end before with a challenge to Westport. I was asked recently what I consider to be the greatest challenge to Westport. Apart from its recovery from the pandemic and the return to normal social life, the comment was by Dr. Mark Garvin in the foreword to the report highlighted the caution of success, and I quote him: "The paradox of development is that while you want the locality to prosper and grow, you don't want it to be excessive either. If it grows too much, then that may be a negative." And he gave the problem of Venice and Barcelona and maybe Killarney. While I agree with Mark's warning, I would add another challenge which is facing Westport. Community life requires essential element of collective participation. The loss of Westport's Town Council, in my opinion, and that of the vast majority of the providers of service in this community creates a vacuum of collective participation. The positive role of the Town Council in the development of Westport tourism has been clear to me in all the previous surveys. The current crisis calls for immediate action. May I have the liberty today to call for a repeal of the 2014 Act, which got rid of the local council. In the meantime, I recommend that the people elect a voluntary community council to guide us and keep us together as we continue to ensure that this continues. Now, I wanted to bring this up last because that is one of my most important messages to you. I want to thank, again, Father Leonard Maloney, my Superior General here, my provincial, who allowed me to work voluntarily on the survey, giving a generous grant to the WTO for the funding of the survey. And of course I thank South West Mayo Development Company for their support also. But before handing back the mic, and this is very special, I must refer to three eminent deceased members of the Western community. The local Westport artist Owen Walsh is recognised by the putting of his painting, The Mal River, on the cover of the text. This is made possible through the courtesy of the Town Hall Theatre. And I'm glad to see his brother Seamus is here with us and to tell his son, and to all how much we appreciate it. The report itself is dedicated to the late Sean Stanton, former Cathaoirleach of Westport Town Council and editor of the Mayo News, and the late Jeremy Brown, Marquess of Sligo, and owner of Westport House and Estate. And I'm glad Lady Sligo is here, and that also Sal Staunton is here with us. As stated in the citation of dedication, both persons who passed away in 2014 are recognized for, and I quote, their lifelong and unique contributions to the development of tourism in Westport and their prudent and creative leadership and service to the local community. Sílim go bhfuil dóthain ráite agam. Tá súil agam go mbeidh tariff ar an dúrascáil seo orbert na turasóireachta I gcathair na Mart agus an Iarthar. Is maith an rud é gur éirigh linn an tolas a bhailiú raibh teacht an COVID-19. De bharr son, chuid joí na tora linn, fill ais ar an status quo antebellum, mar a bhí, agus leanar aig leis an seirbhís. Ná cailmhór misneach, go marí chathair na Mart, mar áit sin an aíon cuairteoir I Somália, gur a maithagah agus ráth dé ormh go léir. All right.
Well, as you can see, the wasn't much I could say about what. He covered everything. And what he didn't cover, the minister covered it as well. So that left me with very little to say. Other to thank you all, every one of you, for being here tonight for this launch of research. And we know that this research is going to help Westport as much as all the research that Father has done to date has helped it, the 5 ones he's done to date. It's, as you can see, Westport, with the sign up there, the greatest place to live in. What more can you say? One thing I would ask, though, is we are looking for a marina. And we have a, we have a lovely, lovely spot for it. All we need is a few bob to do it. I was down in my native County Kerry recently. I went down to study Dingle, and they got the marina some years ago, and they had a big statue of Charlie Haughey there. And I can guarantee you that whoever puts the marina here in Westport will have a statue to them as well. So now's the chance. So anyhow, again, thank you all very much for being here tonight to launch this. And I wish you all a very happy rest of the summer, and that we'll be able to get out and about and maybe get inside as well, because it's needed. The economy needs a little joust, and I know there's no better people to give it than the money you're spending there, Minister. And Westport already is getting alive. I can see it, it's already getting alive. I've been around to most of the hotels in the recent days now, and there is a lot of confidence that things are going to go, Oh yeah, the report is available now down here by the way out. You see, Dick down there at one side. Have we some up there as well? No, it's on down here on that exit there. You can have the report. Okay. Again, thank you all very much. Go míle maith agat an seo inocht agus slán agus benacht. Mar dúr. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. Anybody wants to have a word with the minister, Father, just stay seated and keep your distance, by the way, at all stages when you get up off your seat or when you're leaving, and keep your distance from any conversation you're having with the minister or Father. So again, thank you all very much. Thank you.